And I wanted to start with you first. You said in the past that growing up, you didn't see yourself reflected in the media that you consumed. And American Born Chinese was one of the first times you felt at home. What has it meant to you to know that you're ensuring future generations won't have to experience something similar, that bring a different weight to this project?
Oh, I choose not to think about that too much because it makes me terrified. I'm like, yeah, it's because I know I can kind of tell that this show is going to be big for some people. It's going to mean a whole lot to some people, and I'm just glad I got to play really kind of a small part because it takes so many people to make a show like this. And mine is the biggest face on the poster, but I was a piece of it, and I'm very happy for that. And I hope people find this show useful to them, and especially kids who grew up in the same way that I did, because I know I would have wanted this show and loved this show.
Definitely, you played a large role in this. And Sydney, you've also said in previous interviews that often as a young actress, you're presented with characters that are one note, but that wasn't the case with Amelia. And you brought so much nuance to her journey. Did you channel any of your own personal experiences when shaping this character? How did you prepare to step into her shoes?
Oh, most definitely. I think when you're playing someone as young as they are, like it's very important to make them feel very personal and real and like people, because I think often younger people when they're written by like fully grown adults feel very like not real kids. Like I would read some auditions sometimes and auditions when I was like
Yeah,
16 that felt like a 10-year-old talking.
yeah.
And I just don't think that was the case with this show. So I brought
Yeah.
lots of myself into Amelia, but there were definitely enough differences where she was still really fun to play and fun to turn into this very real person that hopefully a lot of people enjoy.
Yeah, well, I know, Ben, when you're adapting a character that's lived in another medium, what's one thing that you wanted to make sure was translated from page to screen? And what's something new that you brought to Jin?
Well, I knew when I read the graphic novel that this that character just felt like me in
Hmm.
every single way. All the panels felt like they were drawn from my exact life. Like I had that haircut, I had that terrible shirt, there was that girl, I had that stupid bike. And people said those exact things to me, and I felt that exact way, right? And because I knew it was so personal to for me, it was like, okay, if I'm gonna bring this to as an actor, I'm just going to use the most truthful and honest parts of myself. And sometimes that can be scary for an actor because um, sometimes we like to hide behind our characters a little bit. But for me, it was about taking true pieces of myself from who I am now, and pieces of myself from who I was when I was 15, 16, about Jin's age, and putting it together and creating this character.
Right. And so this is a question for the both of you, but the relationship between Jin and Amelia is so fundamental to this series, and it really highlights how we're more similar than we are different. How did the two of you build the bond necessary to bring that dynamic to life on screen?
Movie marathons.
We didn't have to do a lot of building. We watched all of Harry Potter. We watched all of Twilight,
Every Shrek.
every Shrek, but we
Every
started with the second one.
Yeah, this is my favorite one, so I was like, I want to start good.
No, you had never seen them, and we forced you to watch
No, I
them.
saw Shrek 2. Remember, I told you I seen Shrek 2, but I hadn't seen 1 or 3. That's why you guys forced
You
me to watch
started
them.
with. Anyways, we did a lot of bonding. We didn't have to do too much relationship building because I think we got along so well from the start that it was
Yeah.
very easy. Um, so when we would build a scene together, there was always so much freedom and connectivity already there that we could just talk, and whatever would come out,
Yeah.
there was a good chance it was going to work because we already had that relationship intact.
Yeah, it resonates on screen. And there's you two are such standouts in this series. When the series drops, is there a particular scene that you're each excited for audiences to see?
I really love that in that first episode, the first time you see that TV show, the
Mm.
80s
Mm.
sitcom with Key in it, right? With Key and portraying this character was sort of a caricature, right? Is this representation of how Asian Americans used to be represented in media.
Yeah.
And sort of Jin turns on the TV, and it's slowly, it's so slow you almost don't realize it, that TV becomes the screen, and then you become Jin watching it, right? And then that clip ends, and it cuts to Jin. It cuts back to Jin, and I feel like that's such a powerful
Yeah, just this
cut.
kid.
Yeah, And it's like all of a sudden you understand, like if you didn't before, you get now why representation and truthful representation is so important, because you see in that moment what bad representation can do to a kid like Jin.
We'll just stick with the first episode. In the first episode, my favorite part to watch is when it sort of all comes to like a ringing crescendo. Like this whole fight scene is happening between the Monkey King and Wei Chen, and then we also have a parallel fight scene between Jin's parents, and so they blend together in this really amazing way that you're just watching it on the edge of your seat.
Right. One of them is a kung fu fight. The other one is like a marital strife fight. My parents are not like
fights
doing Wing
that would
Chun.
be way cooler.
Be
Season 2, they should do that.
Yeah.
But I think that was filmed so well, and Destin did such a great job with that one, and Kelvin with the writing, that it comes together so beautifully, and then you come out of your room and put a stop to things. But you and Michelle,
yes,
put a stop to the fights. But
yes, we do.
That's probably my favorite part of the first episode.
Yeah.